Okay, welcome to another version of our recording. This is recording 3. So we're going to continue from where we stopped. Okay, we stopped at here. I was talking about when you say sum of the amount as total sales, it means like when you calculate the sum of this amount, it will be represented as total sales. Okay, as total sales. So we can see that this total sales can, if you want, you can capitalize it. If you want, you don't capitalize it. It's what optional. If you want, also you can neglect it. But when you neglect it, it's going to be like, for example, if your total amount is 1000, on top will be like EXPR001, something like that, which will not make any sense. But if actually you use it as total sales, under this total sale, you will see like 100,000, on top will be this total sales. Anyone who sees this this figure will know that this is talking about what? Total sales. So that's the benefit or importance of naming as what? As total sales. So here also student can differ from opinion. Some can say as total, some can say as total sales. It depends. So all of them are correct. Okay, now we're going to say select of the amount as what? Total sales. But now where are you selecting these from? From which table? From customer, sorry, from product, from product. Okay, so look at the question. How many, what is the total sale of all product for the month of January? So we're going to say select sum of the amount as total sales from product. You can see this amount doesn't have any information. I bring it at the first and I use sum because we want to know the total sales. Okay, from product. Is that the end of the question? No, there's another condition here. The date must be what? Within what? January. Okay, that is 1st of January to the 1st. So we're going to see where. So where is also another SQL command. That's why I capitalize it. And where is a condition. Whenever where comes, it means that you have to bring you are coming to bring a condition. Okay, the condition is there. The date must be from 1st of January to 31st of January. So where transaction underscore date. So you can see here, whenever I'm dealing with two separate words, I use underscore, because underscore makes this these two words as one. Okay, or you can write it together as one without no space or underscore. So in SQL you cannot have space in between words. Okay, in between what? Columns, sorry to say, in between columns. Okay, so this is a column, so we cannot have space in between them. Okay, it's either you remove the space, make it one word, or you can use underscore. So transaction date, where transaction date. So when you are dealing with date, date goes with what? Between. Okay, between is also an SQL command. You can see I capitalize it. So we use between when we are dealing with dates. Between what? So when you are writing date, you use hash. Okay, just like how I did it here. So I will copy and paste this there. Okay, copy and I paste it. Okay, and I where the transaction date between the 1st of what? January 2023, and at the end, and also and 31st of what? January 2023. So we use what? And for the other date. Okay, and then we bring our semicolon. So basically this is the question for question number 4. Okay, now let's look at question number 5, which says what? How many customers have a telephone number starting with area code 555? So when you look at this, let's try to identify how many tables do we have here, how many customers have telephone number. So basically we are talking about what? One table called what? Customer. So remember, this is not part of answering to your solutions. I'm just doing these ones here in order to help you to understand the question very well, but it's not part of your solutions. Okay, when you're doing an exam, you don't have to write all this, or if you want to do something like, you can write at the back of your question paper to help you to understand the question very well. So table, how many table do we have here? Only one table. Let's look at the column that we need. How many customers have a telephone number? So basically this telephone number is found where? Here. So we need a column called what? Telephone. Okay, starting with the code of 555. So here we are going to have here, the column we need here is telephone, and the information or the row that we have here is what? 555. But remember, there's a catch here. It says what? Telephone number starting. So this starting is very important. It talks about something we're going to discuss, starting with area code 555. Okay, So now we're going to write our SQL query here. We are going to say what select, okay, count. Okay, what do we use count? Because of what? The question says how many. So whenever the question says how many, we can use what? Count. But you cannot say sum, because you cannot sum the individuals. You use count. So how many customers? So we are trying to identify how many of them. That's why I use count. And to use count, it will be more suitable on the customer ID because it's the unique identification. So select count customer ID. Okay. And say select count. What are you counting? The customer ID from which table? From where? Customer table. From customer table, isn't it? Okay. Now the question does not stop there, but the question for us is the telephone number is supposed to be starting with this. So we are going to say where telephone like. Great. So we discussed this in our first tutorial. We says like has 3 different types. Okay, we have starting, we have at the end, and also we have include. So these are the 3 types of like. Let me demonstrate here. For example, like you can see A, you can see A, you can see A. Okay, now so in order to explain this like, okay, we can see is like if you write like this, something like this, asterisk sign, you put it at the end of the letter. You write asterisk sign at the beginning of the letter, and then you write asterisk sign at the 2 edges of the letter. You can see this has a meaning. This means that starts. This means what? Ends. This means that include. So these are the 3 different types of like. Okay, so since the question is saying, okay, how many customers have a telephone number starting? So this starting here, we are going to use with the position of the asterisk sign. Starting, we are going to use this. So the asterisk sign, the position of the asterisk sign will determine whether it is start or end or include. So we know that this letter A also is an alphabet, or is a what? Character or a string. It must be in what? Quotation. Okay, it must be one in quotation. Likewise, these 2 also, they must be in quotation. Okay, that is just an example. Okay, now if at all is a figure, no need to put it in quotation. Okay, we'll talk about that. So now we are going to say the telephone number starts with less 555, just like in Gambia. Our phone number starts with what? If it is official, it starts with 77 or 2 or something like that. If it is Comium 6, it is Gamcell 9. So if we want the same thing also here, we want the number to start with 555. So we're going to say where telephone number like what? 555, and we bring our semicolon. So no need to put it in quotation. Okay, now let's try to position our asterisk sign. That will determine whether it is start or end or include. So since the question says starting, you can see the question, it says what? Telephone number starting with. So therefore we are going to position our asterisk sign at the end of the figure. Okay, so we're going to have at here. So this means this asterisk position of this asterisk is telling us what this number starts with, what? 555. Now let's look at question 6. Question 6 says which customers have a valid email address. For example, like the format is email at gmail at the format is example@example.com. So which customers has a valid email address? So we are trying to identify which customers have this kind of what? Email, a valid email, because this is what they recognize as a valid email. So okay, so we are going to write something like this. We have customer table, because all the information talk about customer table. Now let's delete this. So now let's try to identify which column do we need on this question. Which customers have a valid email? So the column we need here is what? Email address. So you look at here, sometimes it doesn't mean that when you are dealing with a given columns or attributes, you don't have to add any subsequent attribute in the question. You can see here email address is given to us, but we don't have anything like email address. We only have address, that is the location of what? The customer. So we can add this column here, email, under here as what? Email address. Okay, so you're gonna have here email. It's either, if you want, you can say email. If you can want, you can say email address. Okay, email address. Okay, now this email address, is they give us any email address? Actually, they just give us an example of the email address. That's what? Example. Okay, example at what? Example.com. Okay, this is the format that they give us. So we are going to write our SQL statement. We are going to say select. Okay, now look at the question very well. Which customers have a valid email? So we want to identify which customers. So we're going to say select. So are we going to use asterisk here? Yes. So we're going to use asterisk here because we want to identify which customers have the email, that valid email address. So we're going to say select all from where? Customer. Sorry, the customer must be. Select all from customer. Select all from customer. Where? So now we're going to use the condition clause. Okay, select all from customer where what? This email address. Email address. Yeah, I will use underscore because what is two separate words. So to make it one, I will use underscore where email address. Okay, like, so here I'm going to use like. Okay, like here I'm going to use like, just like here, but it's going to be different now. I'm going to use this what? Include. Okay, the email address must include, that is the valid email address of the customer. So it must be like example at example.com. So you can see that this example is a combination of what? Characters and also what? Letters. So we're going to put this in quotation to be represented as a string. Okay, and now we're going to position our what? Our asterisk sign. Our asterisk sign must be include. So we're going to use two asterisk sign at the beginning and at the end. So at the beginning here we are going to have here asterisk. Okay, and also here asterisk. Okay, and then at the end we bring our semicolon. Okay, our semicolon. You can see because it's an email, that's why it is highlighted. Okay, so select all from customer where email address like this must include this. Okay, now let's continue on question 7. Okay, question 7 says query the minimum, maximum and average sales amount. So we want to know what is the minimum sales amount, what is the maximum sales amount, and what is the what? Average sales amount. Okay, now this sales amount, which table do we think we can use? Is this product table or customer table? Sale is found on the which table? Is product table. Okay, not customer table. So amount is on the customer product table, which is right here. Okay, so we are going to use this minimum, maximum and average on what? Amount column here. Okay, so we are going to write here. Let's try to update here. Which table are we dealing with? Product table. And then what column do we need? The column that we need is called amount. And did they give us any amount? I'm not sure. Look at it. Question 7, did they give us any amount? No, they didn't give us any amount. So here is none. So it will come at this amount will come at the beginning. Okay. So we are going to write our SQL. We're going to say so we can discuss this solution in our next version of our recording.